Have you ever found yourself lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering why sleep just isn't what it used to be? Maybe you're going to bed at the same time you always have, but you wake up feeling groggy, achy, and far from refreshed. Or perhaps you find yourself getting tired earlier in the evening but feel silly turning in at 8:45. If that sounds like you, you're definitely not alone. As we get older, so many things about our bodies begin to shift. Our energy, our appetite, even how we experience joy. But one of the biggest and most underappreciated changes is in the way we sleep. And here's the surprising truth. Your old bedtime might actually be working against your health. Yes, when you go to sleep might be just as important as how long you sleep. I've spent more than 20 years helping older adults navigate sleep problems. And I've seen firsthand how something as simple as adjusting your bedtime can completely transform how you feel during the day, mentally, physically, even emotionally. So today, I want to talk to you about a small shift that could make a big difference. We're going to take a closer look at what really happens to our sleep after 70, why that change matters, and how picking the right bedtime could help you wake up feeling clear-headed, energized, and just a little more like your younger self. Let's start with a story, because chances are you might relate to this one. A few years ago, a man named Mr. Carter came into my clinic. He was 76, retired from teaching, and said he had always been a good sleeper. But lately, something had changed. "Doctor," he said, "I go to bed at the same time I did 10 years ago, around 11 p.m. But when I wake up, I feel like I haven't slept at all." We ran some tests, looked at his sleep cycles, and you know what we found? His brain was still trying to sleep the same way it did when he was 60. But now, his body had shifted. The part of his brain that helps regulate deep sleep, the kind that really restores you, was producing fewer waves. In fact, by age 70, most people experience about a 40% drop in deep sleep compared to when they were 50. So even if you sleep 7 or 8 hours, it might not feel the same, because biologically, it isn't. And this isn't just happening to Mr. Carter. Research from the Sleep Foundation in 2024 confirmed that about 65% of adults over 70 go through major shifts in their natural sleep-wake rhythms. Your body isn't broken, it's just changing. And when you don't recognize that change, you might accidentally be working against it. Here's the deal. Your body has something called a circadian rhythm. Think of it like your internal clock. It helps decide when you feel sleepy, when you feel alert, and even when your hormones should rise and fall. When you were younger, that clock was set for later in the evening. But now, it's ticking a little earlier. That means your body might be ready for sleep at 9:15 or 9:30, even if you're used to watching TV until 11:01. Many of my patients tell me, "I feel tired around 8:30, but I keep pushing through because it feels too early." And that's the mistake. When you ignore your body's cues, you end up missing that natural wave of sleepiness. And once it passes, it can be hard to fall asleep later. You lie there frustrated, wondering why sleep won't come. Here's what really amazed me. A study out of Harvard Medical School just last year showed that as we age, our melatonin, that's the natural hormone that helps us fall asleep, starts peaking earlier in the day. For someone in their 70s or 80s, that peak can happen around 8:30 or 9 p.m., not 10:30 like it used to. That's why aligning your bedtime with these changes isn't just helpful, it's essential. One of the most touching stories I remember came from a woman named Mrs. Peterson. She had spent years battling insomnia and relying on sleeping pills that barely worked. When she first came to see me, she said, "I've gone to bed at midnight for 40 years. Why should I change now?" But after just 2 weeks of adjusting her bedtime to 9:30, she was sleeping through the night without a single pill. Her energy came back. Her mood lifted. She said, "I wish I had known this years ago." What I want to tell you, what I tell everyone who walks into my clinic, is this. There's no shame in changing your habits. It's not about giving in to aging. It's about working with your body instead of fighting it. If you've ever felt frustrated that you can't sleep like you used to, it's not your fault. It's your body sending you a signal, and that signal says, "I'm ready for rest earlier now. Trust me." Now, this might feel like a lot to take in. Maybe you've been going to bed at 11 p.m. for decades. Maybe your evenings are your quiet time, your TV time, your finally I get to relax time. I understand. Changing a routine takes courage, especially when that routine has been your comfort zone for years. But if your body is sending you different signals now, honoring those signals could give you back something even more precious, a better day tomorrow. So, if you've been feeling more tired in the mornings, or if your sleep just isn't what it used to be, don't ignore it. Start noticing when you first begin to feel sleepy in the evening, not when you start yawning at the TV, but when your mind begins to slow down, when your eyes feel a little heavier, when the day starts to feel done. That might be your new bedtime trying to make itself known. And if you're thinking, but isn't 9 o'clock too early? I get it. It might feel that way at first. But trust me, once you start sleeping in sync with your body's new rhythm, you won't miss those extra late-night hours. You'll gain something far better, a deeper, more healing rest. A rest that helps your heart, your brain, your mood, and yes, even your memory. That brings me to what many researchers, and myself, now call the golden hour for sleep after 70. It's a simple window of time that just might change everything, between 9 and 10 p.m. I call it the golden hour, and not just because it sounds nice. It's golden because it lines up perfectly with the way your body's rhythms shift after 70. And when you catch that wave of natural drowsiness, everything starts to work better. Your sleep, your energy, your heart, even your mind. This isn't just my opinion. A 2024 study from the Mayo Clinic tracked the sleep of over 1,000 older adults who adjusted their bedtime to this golden hour, and the results were stunning. 73% reported better sleep quality within just a few weeks. They fell asleep faster, stayed asleep longer, and woke up feeling more alert. One patient who really showed me the power of this window was Mrs. Peterson, the woman who had spent years going to bed at midnight and relying on sleep aids. Once she shifted to 9:30 p.m., her whole body responded. She wasn't just sleeping, she was restoring. And I'll never forget what she said during her follow-up visit. "It's like I finally remembered what good sleep feels like." And here's the thing, she's not alone. In my own clinic, we did a 6-month review of 500 patients who made the same change. Over 80% said they were falling asleep more easily, and nearly 70% said they felt more energetic the next day. But what really stood out? Almost 2/3 either reduced or stopped their sleep medications entirely. That's how powerful this small change can be. You might be wondering, why does this 1 hour make such a difference? Why not just sleep in later or catch a nap in the afternoon? Well, your body's hormone cycles are doing something unique at this age. Around 9 p.m., melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep, is naturally peaking. At the same time, cortisol, the hormone that helps you wake up and stay alert, starts to wind down. It's like your body is saying, this is your moment. If you miss that moment, say, by pushing through with another episode on TV or scrolling your phone in bed, you may find yourself wide awake again at 11 so, wondering where that sleepy feeling went. It's like missing a train and having to wait for the next one. Except the next one might not come until 2 a.m. Another story that comes to mind is from Jack and Linda Miller, a couple in their mid-70s who came to me because both of them were feeling foggy, forgetful, and just plain worn out. Linda kept missing her daily medications, and Jack had trouble focusing, even on his favorite crossword puzzles. They were still going to bed around 11:30 because that had always been their routine. But when they moved their bedtime to 9:30, just 2 hours earlier, things started changing quickly. Within a few weeks, Linda was remembering her schedule without reminders, and Jack told me he could finally finish a crossword again without zoning out halfway through. He smiled and said, "It's like I can think again." And that kind of improvement? It's not rare. It's biology working the way it's meant to, when we stop resisting it. The golden hour isn't just about getting to sleep, it's about healing. And sleep, especially as we age, is when the brain does its deepest cleaning. You may have heard of something called the glymphatic system. It's like your brain's built-in waste removal team. It kicks into high gear during deep sleep, clearing out toxins that have been linked to cognitive decline, anxiety, and even Alzheimer's. But here's the catch. It works best earlier in the night. So if you're going to bed at midnight, you're missing the most effective window for your brain to clear out the clutter. And it's not just your brain that benefits. We've seen remarkable improvements in heart health too. Our clinic tracked blood pressure and heart rhythm data on patients who consistently followed the golden hour schedule, and the results were undeniable. People with high blood pressure started seeing better numbers. Folks with irregular heartbeats noticed more stability. Some even got to lower their medications, with their doctor's guidance, of course. There was one man, Tom, who had been on 3 different blood pressure medications and still woke up with tension in his chest most mornings. After adjusting his sleep to line up with that 9 to 10 p.m. window, his readings dropped, and he told me, "I haven't woken up with tightness in weeks." His cardiologist eventually took him off one of his meds. It's not magic. It's just letting your body do what it knows how to do, at the right time. And if all of this feels a little too good to be true, let me remind you, this doesn't require any expensive gadgets, pills, or overnight changes. It just asks you to pay attention to your body's wisdom. When you feel that natural wave of drowsiness in the evening, even if it's a little earlier than you're used to, try riding that wave instead of pushing through it. That's when real sleep happens. The kind that restores, heals, and makes you feel human again. Some of you might be thinking, but if I go to bed at 9:30, I'll wake up at 4 a.m. That's a common concern. And the truth is, it might happen at first. But something amazing tends to follow. Once your body adjusts, your sleep stretches out. You wake up feeling rested, not groggy. And even if you do wake a little earlier than before, your day feels better. You're clearer. Your mood improves. You may even have fewer aches and pains. Now, I know for many people, evening routines are sacred. Maybe it's when you finally get quiet time. Or maybe that's when you connect with your spouse, catch up on the news, or unwind from the day. I'm not asking you to give that up. What I'm asking is, can you shift it just a little earlier? Can you start your wind down a bit sooner? Because the reward is more than worth it. One woman, Mrs. Garcia, came to me having used sleeping pills every single night for over 10 years. Her bedtime was stuck at 11:30, and she said, "I'm afraid to change it. What if I just lie there, wide awake?" We didn't jump straight to 9:30. We used what I call the 15-minute method, and I'll tell you all about it next. But I'll just say this. 6 weeks later, she was falling asleep on her own by 9:45. No pills, no restlessness, just real, natural sleep. And that's what I want for you too. Not perfect sleep. Not 8 flawless hours every night. Just rest that works. Rest that helps your body heal, your mind clear, and your days feel easier. Mrs. Garcia's story is one I think about often because it reminds me how powerful small, gentle changes can be. She didn't change everything overnight. In fact, we started with just 15 minutes. That's all. We moved her bedtime from 11:30 to 11:15 for a few nights. Then down to 11. Then 10:45. And so on. By the 6th week, she was falling asleep at 9:45. And for the first time in over a decade, she didn't need her sleeping pills. She said, "I never thought I could do this without medication. I feel free." That's the power of what I call the 15-minute method. It's the same approach I've used with hundreds of patients, and it works because it respects the fact that we're all creatures of habit. We don't need to shock the system, we just need to guide it, gently and consistently, toward what works better now. If your bedtime is currently 11 or 11:30, don't feel like you need to jump to 9:30 tonight. Just aim for 15 minutes earlier for a few days, then adjust again. That slow shift gives your body and brain time to settle into the new rhythm, and that's when the magic happens. But timing isn't the only piece of the puzzle. There are a few other simple things that can help your sleep clock reset more smoothly. And one of the most powerful tools? Morning sunlight. Yes, the sun. Getting outside early in the day, even just for 20 to 30 minutes, can do wonders for regulating your body's internal clock. A 2024 study from MIT showed that natural light exposure in the morning helps increase melatonin production at night, and that means better sleep. So if you're able, take your coffee on the porch, go for a short walk, or just sit by a sunny window first thing in the morning. Let your body soak up that light cue that says, it's daytime now, and night is coming later. Food can also play a surprising role in how well you sleep, and when. Over the years, we've tracked eating patterns in our clinic, and a few things stand out. First, heavy dinners late at night almost always make sleep worse. The body is too busy digesting to settle into rest. But when seniors finish dinner around 6:30 or 7 SAWs and avoid eating for at least 3 hours before bed, their sleep quality improves significantly. Less waking up in the middle of the night, fewer bathroom trips, a calmer, quieter rest. It doesn't mean you have to go to bed hungry. Just avoid rich, spicy, or heavy foods in the evening. A warm cup of chamomile tea or a small glass of milk can be comforting without being disruptive. I tell my patients, think of your evening like a dimmer switch, not a light switch. Wind down slowly, eat lightly, and let your body ease into rest. Movement is another gentle ally. You don't need to run laps or hit the gym. Just a simple 20-minute walk in the late morning or early afternoon can improve sleep quality later that night. We've seen it again and again in our clinic, especially when people move their activity to earlier in the day. Evening workouts, on the other hand, can keep you too stimulated and delay sleep, even if your body feels tired. And for those who struggle with a racing mind at night, the kind of thoughts that pop up the moment your head hits the pillow, I want to offer something called the Worry Journal. It's incredibly simple. Just take 5 minutes before dinner, not right before bed, and write down whatever is circling your mind. To-dos, frustrations, questions, even fears. The act of writing them down earlier in the evening sends your brain a message. We've dealt with this already. That way, when bedtime comes, your mind isn't scrambling to resolve everything all at once. Some of my patients swear by a little pre-bed ritual. Something that signals, okay, day is done, it's time to rest. For some, it's light stretching. For others, it's soft music, prayer, or reading with a warm lamp nearby. Whatever helps you feel calm, lean into that. Routine is incredibly soothing to the brain, especially as we age. When your body and mind know what to expect, it's easier to settle. And if you wake up in the middle of the night, as many older adults do, try not to panic or reach for your phone. Instead, stay in bed, keep the lights off, and just breathe slowly. Or think of a comforting memory. Picture a place that makes you feel safe. Your goal isn't to force sleep. It's to stay calm until it comes back around. I know sleep can feel frustrating sometimes, especially when what used to work no longer does. But the truth is, your body still knows how to rest. It's just asking for something a little different now. And when you listen, when you shift your sleep timing just a bit earlier, when you work with your rhythm instead of against it, the results can be truly life-changing. In fact, here's what we've seen from patients who make this shift. 73% say their sleep improves. 45% see better heart health. Memory improves by 32%. And anxiety, depression, and low mood cut in half. These aren't just numbers on a chart. These are people. Real people just like you who wake up feeling better, brighter, more hopeful, more in control. And the best part? It's never too late to start. You can try this tonight. You don't need to wait for permission or a prescription or perfect conditions. All it takes is a willingness to honor what your body is telling you. If you've been feeling frustrated with your sleep, tired during the day, anxious at night, or just off, try moving your bedtime just 15 minutes earlier this week. Step outside in the morning and let the sunlight hit your face. Keep your evening meals simple and early. Write down your worries before dinner. And create a routine that makes you feel safe, peaceful, and ready to let go. If you try these changes, I'd love to hear how it goes. Drop a comment below and let me know your current bedtime, or what you're trying this week. Your story might encourage someone else who's struggling too. And if you found this helpful, please click the like button. It really helps support our channel and get this information to more people who need it. If you want more practical, evidence-based health tips for thriving after 60, be sure to subscribe. We're here every week with encouragement, clarity, and community. Here's to you, and to sleep that heals, energizes, and restores. You've earned it. Sweet dreams, my friend. And thank you for watching.